Welcome to my Fortress of Solitude. So my shop, I feel very blessed to have such a shop. It's 25 by 40, so 1,000 square feet, and heated with natural gas radiant heat, so that's nice and quiet, also nice and warm. I can keep it fairly low temperature and still have everything nice and warm. Give you a quick tour of some of my tools. So these are garden tools. Don't do a whole lot of woodworking with them. They're just for really rough work. Lumber storage rack, offcut rack, some random junk storage cabinets, Milwaukee cordless chop saw, really enjoy it. Nova Galaxy DVR lathe, one of my favorite tools that I don't use very often, but I really enjoy it. Over here I have a Robert Sorby Pro Edge Sharpening belt grinder. Well, it's a great tool. I wouldn't recommend buying one. I'd go to a 2x72 belt grinder rather than this. It's great, but annoying at the same time. Here we have my 14-inch bandsaw, which I really like. And it has a 14-inch resaw capacity. It's a 1.5 horsepower, currently wired for 220. 8-inch grizzly joiner, straight knives that at some point in the future I will upgrade to a helical head. Right now I can't. Center of my shop is my 3 horsepower saw stop PCS with T-glide fence. Has 52-inch rails, which again I also wouldn't recommend buying because it ends up just being a junk collector. You can totally get away with 32-inch or 36-inch, whatever they are. I think in the entire 5 or 6 years I've owned this saw, I've maxed out its capacity maybe twice. This is a 13-inch drum sander. If you go back into my reels a little bit, you can see how fast it is to change it. I much prefer this style of drum sander to the more common one. As you can see, it's got a big belt on it. It's a 32-inch belt. Takes about 30 seconds to change a belt, which is great. I got rid of my 15-inch planer because it was kind of nearing the end of its lifespan, and got this 13-inch helical head one as a stopgap until one day when I feel wealthy enough. I hopefully will buy a 16-inch combo unit, but until that day comes, that's actually a really solid planer. Can't complain. Does everything that I need it to, and probably just about as well as my 3 horsepower 15-inch planer did. Cheapy drill press, drills holes. Here's my ghetto chip separator, running a 6-inch hose to it and through down the wall there to all the other tools. Table saw has got its own dedicated small dust collector underneath the outfeed table. Here's my digital fab section. I have a small Ortur Laser Master 2 laser for basically engraving products and stuff like that. Works really well. Hands down worth the money. Rack of project parts. These are all left over from another thing that I've done. These are some little Damascus knives that I was making with the young men's group. Kind of showing them how to handle knives and stuff like that. Bought these blanks off of Amazon. I think you're already going for them. Handle's a little wonky shaped on them. Whole bunch of hand tool stuff in there. Router table, Jessam with a master lift in it. Works really well. Although I do need to put a bigger router in it. I only have 1.5 horses, and so it'd be nice to have a 3-horse router, but I don't. Festool sander is really great. Love that. Do not regret buying it at all. One of my multiple chainsaws, because I'm a real man. I also have a 48-inch bar for that saw, which is ridiculously long. And there's no trees around here that big. Cheap crap wire feed MIG welder, tile saw, some random tools are all stuffed over in here. Oh, I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. Down here is my favorite tool of all. I have a Festool Domino DF500. That was the happiest moment of my life when I justified to myself to buy it. Anyway, there we go. Tour of my shop. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below. Yeah, kind of give you the quick overview. Maybe, I guess I didn't walk through my my hand tool wall, but maybe I'll do that really quick. There's my hand tool wall. Veritas straight edges, bunch of cheap combo squares. They're all squared up and good. Chisels, Mass Woodworks marking gauge, one of my favorite tools. Kevin Pardley on Instagram gave that to me for the Green Street Joinery Secret Santa thing. That was great. Glad that I was a part of that. That was fun. Hand planes. This is probably the one I use the most. Really like this plane. And of course I occasionally use the joiner plane just because it's fun. This saw was handmade for me by a local guy, a friend of mine, Mitch. If you want one of these handmade saws, let me know and I'll give you his contact information. Yeah, so there we go. Like I said, I feel really blessed to have the shop that I have. Anyway, hope you're all having a good night.